All right, welcome back to our fourth and final round here at Guardian Games on Modern Mondays. We are ending tonight on a farewell to Faithless Looting.
Yeah, I feel like there might be some emotions going on here.
Playing taps.
uh,
Specifically, we're looking at a matchup between the Mono Red Prowess deck here from Blake Wellingcamp against the Izzet Phoenix deck from Nick Beakert.
as far as looting decks go, I feel like the prowess decks we're playing looting. They are gonna. It's pretty easy to just take those out, and the deck is still pretty potent burn deck with some recursive damage in its creatures. Um, Probably becomes like the best Manamorphose deck, maybe up there with Storm.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, I don't think Mono Red Prowess isn't even running the full complement. Okay, he's on the Phoenix version, though, because there's also the non-Phoenix version of Prowess, which, even more doesn't lean on the card. And honestly, I'm not entirely sure that the Phoenix version is better than the non-Phoenix version. So I think if we see people just sort of ditching the arc lights, going the straight Prowess route, Faithless Looting is okay that it's gone for that deck.
Yeah, I feel like the reason people are playing Phoenix because it was a strong card, but then with so much like main deck graveyard hate, they kind of took it out of their deck because sometimes you just don't want to let your opponents interact with you on that level that's meaningful in game one or game two or three. But yeah, the deck is still going to be great. Lava Dart was a pretty big upgrade.
Oh yeah. So here we're seeing a Faithless Looting from Nick. Gonna bin a Phoenix. We've cast several spells this turn. Here's Arclight Phoenix, facing down 3 Soulscar Mages from Blake Wellenkamp. Every spell essentially a lightning bolt with those prowess creatures getting in.
Wow. Yeah, Blake does have 2 lava darts, so that's potentially an addition. Each of
So
those
that's
lava darts is going to be, if you sacrifice a mountains to flash them back, is 3, 6, 7, 8,
it's
8 points
4
of
lightning
damage.
bolts.
Yeah.
If he wants to just Lando himself completely, I mean, Nick can block, but he's gonna dart. Yeah, ignoring the lava dart damage entirely. This is 4 lightning bolts, plus the actual power of the Soul Scar Mages. This is, uh, does he want to really go for it right now? Is a great question. I think I might just swing in here. Just take 9.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool, like, old art foil lava darts.
Yeah, I like those. Odyssey block.
Uh,
Okay. Take you to 16. Take you to 15. You are dead. Four Exacxies. Oh my god. That's a game. Alright, well.
Zing.
When every lava dart deals 3 damage. See, I thought it wasn't quite lethal because I forgot the fact that it's just 2 damage upstairs. My god. So sometimes the Mono Red deck just does that, and I think that's why we were seeing it be an effective check on the GAC. I mean, in addition to being able to knock out the GAC enabling creatures, it just puts a lot of pressure.
I think it's also an interesting question of, like, why play mono red over burn? And I think the advantages that it has is you're definitely not damaging yourself with your mana base. Some of them are playing some number of the horizon lands, but in general, you're playing mountains, so you're not fetching and shocking. And also, you have enough prowess creatures that you can really leverage a card like Lava Dart for something like that we saw there, with just each of those Lava Darts was 6 points of damage, basically.
Yeah, that's incredible. It's just a lot that you're squeezing out of nowhere with this deck. Chat mentioning that lava darts, when you leverage enough of them, do kill Baneslayer Angels. Nothing is too mighty for the lava dart. Let's discuss the sideboards that these players have available. So, looking at the sideboard options for Nick on Izzet Phoenix, we have 1 Ral Izzet Viceroy, 2 Blood Moons, a Shenanigans and Anger of the Gods, 2 Force of Negation, Spell Pierce, Rav Trap, Sahili, Hercule's Recall, Factor Fiction, Narset. Oh, sorry, that's 3 Ravenous Trap. So I'm not seeing a ton here that I'm in love with. Anger of the Gods is pretty much a snap include here. Um,
I can kind of see throwing Saheeli in there
yeah,
just
just
because a lot of
blockers.
times you're going to want to just, yeah, chump block, and that's as long as you can keep or mono red off of having that recursive damage, you can race them.
They do a lot of them run crash through. I don't know if Blake is running crash through, which makes Saheeli pretty mopey, because usually I think of Saheeli as a bit of a grindy card, because especially against mono red, you're going to want to play Saheeli and immediately get your value. And so that seems a little bit further off. Sideboard options for Blake are 2 Blood Moon, a Shattering Spree, 2 Tormod's Crypt, 3 Dragon's Claw, 3 Smash to Smithereens, a Shrine of Burning Rage, 2 Kozilek's Return, and a Flame Slash. Um, I like the Flame Slash to take out Thing in the Ice. Um,
The Dragon's Claw is an interesting question mark for me.
I don't know that that's your role here. I think the Dragon's Claw is not what you want to be doing. You are the deck with more pressure. And if you are taking a turn off to cast a Dragon's Claw, I think you're weakening your own game. Yes, it'd gain you a lot of life, but I just think that that is the wrong call here.
I agree with that assessment. Although I do like Shrine of the Burning Rage, but maybe more so if I'm on the play than on the draw.
Okay, I can see that. It's definitely effective. It takes out a Thing in the Ice. But yeah, it's a bit slow.
I mean, because lava darts are pretty bad in this matchup. They were really strong in that last game
Yeah, but
when
they're
you had, but overall they're not killing anything that Phoenix is playing unless you're sacking lands, which is not where you want to
no.
be, unless you're being super super aggressive. So I could see wanting to side out some number of lava darts for something else.
Yeah, siding out lava darts for something that doesn't trigger prowess is a little awkward, because I could say, there's marginal gains to be had out of like Tormod's Crypt hitting their lootings, hitting their phoenixes, but that Tormod's Crypt doesn't trigger your prowess creatures. So that's, again, it's taking a little bit of a hit, slightly more targeted. Lava dart sometimes just ping you, generate prowess, but it just depends on
I think
on the draw
Crypt,
how useful that is.
I think Crypt, it's non, Crypt's gonna trigger prowess, right? Or any,
Uh,
it's not instant sorceries. It's just non.
fuck.
That's why Young Pyromancer is a little bit different because that one's just instants and sorceries, but prowess is all the stuff, which is. But yeah, Crypt would be an interesting call.
You're totally right. Don't listen to me. All right, I think then maybe I am about crypt. I like the double trigger off of. Hey, I'm a judge. I'm not an encyclopedia.
Yeah, being a judge means that you're really good at reading the rules and like accurately interpreting them to the situations.
And
But
you're really disciplined about rereading the card text every
yeah,
time,
I
which
am
is what I just did.
also a judge that doesn't know a lot of things.
There we go. There we
But
go.
I'm not going to be a judge for that much longer because I'm not going to the academy.
Hey, yeah, I didn't research. It's been years, but here we are. All right, so I'm looking at hands here. Blake, his hand looks stacked. If there's a mountain in there, I'm all about this. And
Uh,
apparently there is.
oh, and it was on a mulligan too, so interesting.
On a mulligan to 6, couple bolts, prowess critter. Sparbluff can outgo from Nick. Fiery Eyelet. Monastery Swift Spear. I take 1, you take 1.
So you're on the islet side of Islet or Islet?
This is
I'm on
I'm
I-
I'm
I'm on the islet side.
I'm confused that the other option is an opinion and not just incorrect.
Okay, I definitely agree with that.
Like, I'm not gonna lie to you here. Thing in the ice. Let's find the flame slash. Time for that.
Do you block with your thing in the ice if you're Nicholas?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Let's see if Nicholas is going to agree with that.
Interesting.
I think we got a lava dart that we're going to throw with
Oh,
that
okay.
too.
We're just gonna kill it. I was gonna say, are we forcing through a couple damage here? But makes a lot more sense. You take 3. No thing in the ice. Oh, Nick, this is on a fast track to being over. Let's see what he can do. Izzet Phoenix can pull out a lot of stuff.
Yeah, turn 3 is usually pretty pivotal there. And
Another thing in the ice is a good one.
And that thing's going to flip next turn if it survives.
Yeah, and even if it doesn't, I mean, we're eating, what, another bolt and the flashback of the lava dart. That's Oh, surgical, your lava dart. Trigger, my
Uh,
thing in the
I
ice.
might sack a land to.
But if he sacks the land right now, the one damage to the thing in the ice is garbage. It's one damage to the face. Prowess trigger, no value. I wouldn't bother.
You wouldn't?
Well, I guess you can stop the surgical,
Yeah. Is there
but
another lava
man,
dart in hand? I think that might.
there is no other
No.
lava dart in hand. Hand
Okay.
is two faithless looting and dragon's claw, and he lets it go because
Yeah.
he wants that mountain, and I think I agree with that. I also interesting to see that he did go for the dragon's claw here. Two looting, tooting.
That's an interesting question that Ian asked. Is if you even take the lava darts out of the deck. Um, yeah, it seems like kind of a bad draw. I might be tempted to leave them in.
That is, I think that's something a lot of people don't. Um, that's something that people don't consider a lot is the number of times that you can search and decide that maybe you don't care. Um,
Definitely take the one out of the graveyard to stop the Reveler and like flashback. But yeah,
yeah.
I do like leaving them in the deck.
Well, I don't know but if you're gonna leave them in the deck, why are you surgicaling lava dart, not lightning bolt?
That is a very valid question, and yeah, I was maybe to force Blake to use it perhaps, and just to slow down like his mana base. I don't know. There's many
Eh.
levels of thinking going.
Yeah, I think honestly, I'm much more about just taking lightning bolt there. If you think that lava dart is a bad draw, take the bolt.
And I kind of don't like playing the Dragon's Claw
I
here
don't. Yeah.
because I really want to deal with that thing in the ice. I'd rather looting away the Dragon's Claw and hopefully draw into a Lightning Bolt.
Strong agree. And
Maybe.
then, yeah, when you're sitting here going, I would rather discard my sideboard card to Faithless Looting, I think it
Maybe.
indicates something about your sideboard decisions.
Well,
But we'll see what happens. Binning a Mountain and Soulscar Mage. Your go. Trigger. Bin those. Draw this.
yeah, I'll get a bolt. Okay, we're off to the races here.
Vroom vroom.
Thing's gonna flip. We got a Manamorphose plus bolt in hand.
Yeah, Bogdan pointing out that looting in hand is not great because right now, I mean, he draws a card, and then the looting gives him the best two of the top three. It's not great selection at that point, and he is not that graveyard interactive a deck.
So I don't think this Dragon's Claw is really gonna do much against this thing.
7 is a large chunk to take at a time. Bolt you, flip this.
Coming in hot.
An Eldritch Horror, a Kraken from the deep, here to take a large bite out of your life total. That Dragon's Claw, I think at this point it's changed the clock, but not in a incredibly meaningful way.
I do kind of like the flavor of a Dragon's Claw versus like this enormous awoken horror.
One claw, many claw. The equation isn't good. Faithless looting, gain a life. Nick's still at 14. That's the thing, is those thing in the ices were so taxing on his removal that that oh, you're at 17, oops, you're dead is not on the table this game at all.
Yeah, I feel like Dragon's Claw is one of those sideboard cards that is for one matchup. And a lot of times people will have cards in their sideboard that they'll tend to want to play because they're in the sideboard. But I kind of feel that's like just for the mirror or burn.
Yeah. In Yeah, I think you're right that people will. It's really common to see people examine their sideboard. They see that the card in their sideboard will do a lot. Like, we're seeing the Dragon's Club get a lot of triggers, but he's not thinking about maybe his role in this matchup. Um, and that is actually where you need to make the decision.
I love how chat said surgical is one of those cards, which I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Where that's like the quintessential card where like, My opponent played cards and I took them out of their decks, and
Aha.
they want to play Magic cards, so this must be good.
Yeah, I think actually maybe from both players here, we're seeing some cards in game two that maybe we had better options. Surgical rules, except when all of the cards that your opponent is playing are on a similar power level. Like we saw there, he took lava darts, which meh, and he could have taken lightning bolts, which meh. Um, so at that point, if you're not targeting something that's really going to cripple your opponent or something that's live in the graveyard itself, I think you pull him out.
Yeah, I don't like the card in the matchup. Surgicals against burn decks, I think, are, even if they're playing Phoenix, I don't think are great. I could see Nicholas just having them in, thinking that he has to trigger Thing in the Ice to flip as soon as possible, but then again, I don't actually.
Yeah.
I don't. I can understand that line of thought, but I don't agree with it.
I think he's got them in there for Phoenixes out of Blake's deck.
Okay.
But did he even see the Phoenixes? So we're actually seeing the Crypts pulled out. The Dragon Claws are staying in. The Crypts are leaving for Mono Red. Anyone see what he threw out? I'm not sure. Oh, yeah.
But speaking of which, chat was talking earlier about the one banned and restricted card that we haven't really discussed is the Stoneforge Mystic, and hot takes on that one. My hot take on that is, meh, it's okay. I could see it being played in some number of Vile decks. Like maybe you have a Stoneforge package on the sideboard from like humans, or it's like pretty good in like Bant Spirits, but I feel like since they printed the 3 mana Planeswalkers for control decks like blue-white, those just do a similar thing, how they generate card advantage, are a pseudo kind of like win condition, have a tax effect kind of with Narset or Teferi, and they just are more versatile for playing in kind of control decks than a card like Stoneforge Mystic is going to be. But it's an interesting addition to Modern. Just the equipment packages are so bad. It's just like you want to get card advantage from it, but really Batterskull is the only decent thing because the swords, you still have to pay mana to equip, and then someone can just kill your creature. And,
Yeah. I think I half agree, half disagree. I'm not sure we're gonna see a spot for those in the low to the ground tempo ether vial decks like humans and spirits. I think the package might be too heavy because if they're gonna draw an opening hand with a Batterskull in it, it's gonna be it's really not where you want to be. I agree that they don't go in the blue-white X control shells for the very reasons you're stating. I think we may see an emergence of like white X mid-range decks that we don't currently have at all. That involves Stoneforge Mystic. That's I think where my money is right now. But I'm really excited to see what people do because there's a lot of options.
Yeah, Lingering Souls plus Stoneforge seems cool. Also, Unearth is interesting. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yep. And we got a couple Swift Spears.
Swifty. You take 2. 17.
Is that a gut shot? I see a Phyrexian mana symbol in Blake's hand. It is.
Why? Okay, gut shot is still in this deck. But not Tormod script. Sideboarding is not an easy thing to do in Modern. Okay, Nicholas has brought in Spell Pierce and Force of Negation. I think I'm a hard pass on Force of Negation in this matchup, and also on Spell Pierce, I think.
I'm down for Spell Pierce, but I'm definitely hard pass on Force of Negation. Sometimes being able to Spell Pierce and Manamorphose is pretty important, especially when you're on the draw, but yeah. Force
2
of
for 1-ing
Negation.
yourself for a Lightning Bolt is... Cancel. You know, I've seen the play from these players be fine. They're finding lines and they're really, I think, playing their decks very well. But the sideboarding choices here are some of the more perplexing parts.
Well,
Nick at 4. Prowess doing prowess things. Still got one card in
Lightning
hand.
Bolt.
That's a Soulscar Mage. But Nick does not have a lot of room to work with here. Bullet your Swift Spear.
Huh. There's a mountain.
Mountain. Take 1, go to 3.
Dangerous spot to be in.
Here comes Soulscar Mage. Oh no, we're gonna.
Maybe playing
we're-
around that Anger of the Gods that we saw.
Okay.
Perhaps.
That's reasonable, I guess. He's at 3, so you don't need to present much. Arclight Phoenix. Demand an answer.
Maybe we're going to eat our words with that.
The dragons.
I think there's a Force of Negation in Nicholas's hand.
It doesn't help. I mean, he forces a Dragon's Claw?
No, no. I thought maybe if Blake drew the Lightning Bolt or something
Oh,
that turn.
yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, looking at this. Let's see. We've got a Thing in the Ice. Blake's Hellbent.
Is the Thing in the Ice in hand?
Yes, there's a Thing in the Ice in hand and a Force of Negation. But if he's considering holding that Thing in the Ice for that Force of Negation, yeah, just hold the cancel. There we go. Okay, Thing in the Ice.
That is a funny mindset that one can get in. It has this alternative cost of like pitching a card. So you're like, okay, I've got to keep a blue card in my hand, but it's like, well,
No.
it is a counter spell for 3 mana too, ish. It's a negate.
Yeah. It's an exile negate for 3. And like, yeah, we're looking at this 3 mana Anger of the Gods, swipe your 1 guy, 3 mana counter spell. Oh, this is nope.
Nope.
Game GG. Look, Force of Negation not doing it. All right. Okay. So that is the match going to Mono Red Prowess here. Just very explosive and a lot of weird angles.
I think that also the end of the game shows how like kind of Force of Negation is sort of a fairish card. In Modern here, where like you can't counter creatures, it's cool that you can counter non-creature spells when you're tapped out, but it definitely has limitations.
Absolutely. I really, I love Force of Negation, but it is only for specific matchups. You only want it when you have things you otherwise are just super dead to, or where you can really cripple your opponent.
In this specific sideboard, or in general?
Honestly, in general, I think it's reasonable to take a hard look at whether or not you can otherwise cope with a card that you're thinking about forcing, and whether or not, card disadvantaging yourself to counter it is going to cripple your opponent badly enough that it doesn't matter.
I agree with that most of the time. I do really like Force of Negation in the blue-white X control shells, just because you have so many cards that you're drawing additional cards with, that a lot of times it's nice to cast a Planeswalker and then be able to pass the turn with the Force up, because usually you're going to be able to deal with creatures if someone plays it with your removal package, but yeah, you're going to recoup that card disadvantage with your Planeswalkers, and I think it's a great card. It's like excellent play design. Yeah.
That's a very good point. I didn't think of that, and I would agree with it. If you're otherwise generating more card advantage than your opponent, then it makes a lot of sense, and especially the problem with blue-white of always, can I tap out for a Planeswalker now? It's really nice to have that gap filled. So all really good points there.
But yeah, I feel like definitely in a deck like Izzet Phoenix or whatever that becomes in the future, Force of Negation is probably just for your like Neoform type combo things where you're not going to bring it in unfair matchups.
No.
But cool. Well, that was our fourth and final round.
That was our final round.
Yeah, and so this is a hopefully a long goodbye to Faithless Looting and definitely Hogak.
It's funny, we put on the Faithless Looting mirror in the last round, and we have 20 minutes left on clock. Our players have already packed it up. It's almost like maybe Faithless Looting speeds up Modern. Maybe more than it's entirely healthy.
Maybe it's just ready to go home. It's like, I'm tired. I've been doing this for a long time. I'm going to get out of here early.
Goodbye, Faithless Looting.
But I will say we're here every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're Portland Paper. And we got a couple things coming up next Monday, of course, but then also we're going to try streaming some Legacy this Thursday. So we will be on at 7 o'clock this Thursday with some Legacy. And thanks everyone for hanging out, and Matthew Dennis for subscribing. That's awesome. Subscriptions definitely help us with all the equipment stuff. But just being in chat and watching is also excellent too.
We are streaming Legacy from Portland Game Store on Thursday. And so good night, chat. We will see you in a whole new world next Monday.
Oh,
Modern.
I want to cue the Whole New World song from
A
Little
whole
Mermaid.
new world. There we go.
Thank you. Okay, good night, everybody.
Good night.